afternoon, everybody. My presentation is modest. There is no... It's coming? That's no gizmo, no animation, no films, not even pictures, but a couple of notions. First of all, it is a privilege to be here because I am not an established brand, being the representative of companies, but many of the companies that make up my associations have been finalists or winning this award since the award was established. And this is one of the reasons of particular pride and acknowledgement that I'm here today. And last night, Ion, one of my members, repeated the exploit, getting the award for the established brands. Established brands, exactly. So first point is that I want to clarify that distribution system operators, DSO, of Europe are not the retailers. I do not sell you electricity. My association represents the largest, the top of mind names in the electricity business that you might list in your knowledge as a citizen and as a consumer, but we do not sell electricity. We transport electricity from the high voltage lines to your socket. And we take particular care in doing that in the smartest possible way so that there is no waste, no distortion, and the quality of your electricity stays the same all over Europe, so that you can plug in all over Europe without worries of having different tensions, different voltage. The only trouble that you have is to get the right plug, because standardization hasn't become universal in Europe as far as plugs and sockets are concerned. So I don't sell your electricity, and so my branding issue is not, technically speaking, towards the consumer. The consumer knows the distribution system operator because it is the phone number that they call up when a major disaster happens as far as electricity is concerned in their households. The distributors are the ones that are asked for resilience, so the ability to restore a service when the service breaks down, when there is a typhoon, or when there is a major flood, or whatever. And this is the basic difference. So the trust that we must meet and build with the consumer is a trust based on a service that is not perceived, but it is expected. And certainly it is only partially related to the choice that the consumer has done in the moment that has signed up a contract to have electricity to be used in the household. So we are in front of a transformational scenario because the citizen still perceives the DSOs as a public service and electricity as a basic right, something that is universal, as I said before. But still, this consumer is evolving for two factors. There is a generational shift and a technological shift. We shall assist in the next years to consumers able to interact digitally with the DSOs, thinking anyway that the DSO is still the retailer. And this is the major challenge that we have to face. We have to convey to the consumer the notion that there are at least two actors playing for the electricity that the consumer is using. At least because the technological shift will bring in many other actors that I will briefly list afterwards. And every one of these new actors interacting with us will have its own branding issue and its own trust establishment of relation with the consumer. Then we have the figure of the prosumer, so the consumer that is producing his own electricity and he's participating into the market. There are not many, they will grow. We think not in an exponential way right at the beginning, but certainly they will be so motivated to go green, to go partially independent, to go active in the market, to store their own electricity, to use the electricity in a way that is much more rational for their consumption and for their uses, that they will grow. Where? All over the place, certainly. But it will be dramatic in the big cities, where the use of electricity will be growing exponentially, yes, here, and the number of prosumer or participant into cooperatives similar to Cordova with some changes will be there and will be active. So what we must do is to separate the amateurs from the market pioneers and the semi-professionals and help them, everyone, to find their place within a complicated framework. We are grid enhancer, and we support the necessary investment. If you put a solar panel on your rooftop and you think that you are going to be a prosumer, the investment to carry that electricity to you that you produce on the grid is on the DSO, is not on the retailer. You might sign up with the retailer some accommodation or some other agreement, but still, when the electricity is produced and channeled into a wire, it's our business. And many times, the consumer doesn't realize this. We are grid enhancer. So sustaining this kind of investment will force us not to embrace green because it is so fashionable, but because it is the only way to do our job in the future. Smarter grids for smarter cities and territories alike is exactly this thing. So we must further develop the ability to have intelligent grids. Intelligent grids mean a lot of things. It means automation in the grid, artificial intelligence put in certain point of the grid so that the flow of electricity can be smooth and seamless. And then we have got another revolution, which is the one beyond the meter. This is what Steve Woodhouse told yesterday. The Amazon 20 euro associated to your appliance bought online. It is not just only that, because the smart meter and the IoT combined will allow a lot of additional services, and maybe if you buy that washing machine, you will end up in getting a mail from Procter & Gamble or Unilever suggesting you the best powder to use since you wash every day at 40 degrees. So this is the reality we must confront with. This brings a lot of data, big data handling, big data ownership, big data privacy, a lot of cybersecurity concern. It means investments. They are on us. So we are there to connect the dots or the metering points or the generation points We are talking about local energy communities, Cordoba, renewable energy communities, microgrids, energy islands that are not just islands, but are communities that are not on the grid anyway, and they make islanding in their energy production, but they may occasionally need the grid. Energy peninsulas, something that is in between, domestic storage, the battery that you have at home, neighborhood markets. I sell my energy to my neighbor, demand response management, new financial tools, and regulation. And regulation, which is basic for our business, which still cannot envisage in the right way the evolution of the services and of the markets. Very rapidly, since I'm taking too much of your time, we must update the reference models. The incumbent, the former monopolist that had their trust path with the consumer established, and are those greedy bastards that we have seen in Friedrich's presentation before, well, they have to reset their game. The market is for the unbundled distributors and new participants to the markets in terms of service providers and in terms of retailers. New actors within and outside the companies, that will be a major challenge, and big companies twisting the arms to regulation to be active in a proper way in the future. What does it mean? It means that we must be ready to face a new breed of energy application integrators, not just a service provider. And about jargon, the jargon of marketing will totally apply. We shall see electric services to be bought over the counter or on the shelf. We shall see cross-merchandising. We shall see beaconing of electricity-related product, electricity or energy point of sales, flash sales of quantities of energy. We are elaborating scenarios about this. And energy private labels as well. And we already have some experiment in this respect. Premium access to high performance grids. And this is the dangerous side of the evolution. Because the more the grid gets sophisticated, the more will attract sophisticated services. And the more sophisticated services will concentrate in definite areas, the more regular, quote unquote, grids will be neglected. And the challenge of the DSOs is to guarantee the same level of adequacy of the grid in as a large way as possible. We shall have energy vouchers, social commerce, and just to name one of the services that you regularly in your branding activity see, and it will be there. And the difference between DSO and retailer, it is capital and key in order to perform well and continue bringing the electricity that lights your bulb and dries your hair. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Roberto.